In the journey toward success and fulfillment, it is easy to overlook the smallest steps we take each day. We often imagine that big changes require big actions, grand plans, or sudden breakthroughs. But the truth is far more simple and far more powerful. Tiny actions, repeated consistently, are the real engine behind lasting transformation. When we think about change, we tend to look for dramatic moments, a decisive event, a bold decision, or a massive effort. Yet real change is rarely born from a single explosion of effort. Instead, it grows quietly, invisibly, through the steady accumulation of small choices and tiny habits. Consider a drop of water falling one by one into a dry bucket. Each drop alone hardly makes a difference. The bucket remains mostly empty, but as drops accumulate, eventually the bucket fills and then overflows. Similarly, the small actions you take every day add up to something meaningful over time. Many people underestimate how much these tiny actions matter because they are focused on immediate results. When you start a new habit or a new routine, you might not see progress right away. A few minutes spent reading, writing a page in a journal, or taking a short walk might feel insignificant. You wonder if it is worth the effort at all. But success and change don't happen overnight, and the power of tiny actions lies in their persistence and the slow buildup they create. It is the steady drip of effort, not the one-time flood, that carves the deepest paths in your life. Think about the way nature works. A river doesn't carve through rock because of a single rush of water, but because of the continuous flow, day after day, year after year. The rock eventually gives way to the gentle, persistent current. Your daily habits work in the same way. Each small act may seem like a drop, but with enough drops, you can carve a path toward your goals. Moreover, tiny actions are accessible to everyone. You don't need extraordinary talent, vast resources, or an abundance of free time to start making progress. Small steps require little energy and little risk, making them easier to begin and easier to maintain. This accessibility is what makes them so powerful. They lower the barriers to entry for change, inviting you to take just one more step rather than waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal conditions. There is also a psychological effect at play. Small actions build momentum. When you accomplish even a minor task, your brain rewards you with a sense of satisfaction and motivation. This feeling can be the spark that ignites further action. Starting small allows you to avoid overwhelm, and instead of being paralyzed by the size of a big goal, you feel encouraged by your ability to make consistent progress. That sense of achievement, no matter how small, propels you forward and reinforces the habit cycle. It's important to remember that tiny actions also build your confidence. When you repeatedly follow through on small commitments, you prove to yourself that you can trust your own word. This builds discipline and self-respect, qualities essential for sustaining change over the long term. Without these small wins, it's easy to lose faith in the possibility of growth and improvement. Finally, the power of tiny actions extends beyond your personal development. These small steps accumulate to create changes that ripple outward into every area of your life: health, relationships, finances, and career. When you commit to little improvements in how you treat your body, such as drinking more water or walking a few extra minutes, your energy and well-being improve, setting the stage for success in other areas. When you make small efforts to connect with others or to practice kindness, your relationships deepen and flourish over time. When you consistently set aside even a tiny bit of money, your financial stability gradually strengthens. In essence, the power of tiny actions is the secret that many overlook. It is the slow, quiet work behind every major success story. This power comes from understanding that every small choice you make today, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a step toward a larger transformation. Just as a single brick does not make a building, a single day does not make a lifetime. But when those bricks and those days accumulate, they build something extraordinary. When it comes to creating lasting change, one of the most misunderstood concepts is the idea that big results require big effort. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that if they can't do something in a massive, intense way, then it's not worth doing at all. They believe that success is the result of extraordinary bursts of energy and overwhelming willpower. But the truth is quite different. High consistency over time far outweighs short-term intensity. Showing up every day, even when motivation is low, is what truly separates those who succeed from those who don't. The power of consistency lies in its ability to build habits, develop skills, and create momentum. When you commit to a small action regularly, you are wiring your brain and body to perform that action almost automatically. Over time, this consistent effort becomes a natural part of who you are. You don't need to rely on motivation or discipline in the same way because the behavior is ingrained in your daily routine. This process cannot be rushed by trying to do everything at once or forcing yourself into extreme action that is unsustainable. Think about the people who achieve mastery in any field: athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, or writers. What do they all have in common? They consistently practice, learn, and improve day after day. It's not the occasional marathon training or all-nighter before a deadline that defines their success, but the steady, committed work over months and years. Consistency builds endurance, resilience, and confidence. It teaches you that progress is a marathon, not a sprint. When you rely on intensity alone, it often leads to burnout. You may push yourself hard for a short period, but soon you find your energy drained and your enthusiasm fading. Intense efforts that are not sustainable tend to create cycles of start and stop. You might make great progress initially, then fall off the wagon, only to restart later with the same high intensity. This pattern wastes time, energy, and morale. Consistency, on the other hand, helps you avoid this burnout. By pacing yourself and focusing on regular, manageable actions, you create a sustainable path forward. Even on days when you don't feel like it, committing to a small action keeps the habit alive. It's better to do a little every day than to do a lot sporadically. The cumulative effect of consistent effort is what ultimately leads to big changes. Another important aspect of consistency is its impact on motivation. Many people wait to feel motivated before they take action, but motivation is often fleeting and unreliable. It rises and falls based on mood, circumstances, and external factors. Consistency means showing up even when motivation is absent. When you build the habit of action regardless of how you feel, you no longer depend on motivation to move forward. The habit itself generates its own momentum and motivation. Furthermore, consistency creates a feedback loop of progress and confidence. Each time you follow through on your commitment, no matter how small, you build trust in yourself. You prove that you can rely on your own word and that you are capable of change. This trust fuels further action, making it easier to keep going and to raise the level of effort when needed. Consistency also allows for adjustment and learning. When you practice regularly, you get more data about what works and what doesn't. You learn from mistakes and refine your approach. Intense bursts of effort without regular practice often lack this reflective process. They may produce short-term gains, but miss the opportunity for sustained improvement. Finally, it is consistency that bridges the gap between goals and results. Setting ambitious goals is important, but goals alone don't create change. It is the daily, consistent actions aligned with those goals that turn vision into reality. Each small step forward compounds like interest in a savings account until you reach a tipping point where transformation becomes visible. In life, success is less about the moments of extraordinary effort and more about the simple, repeated acts done over time. It is about having the patience to keep showing up day after day, even when progress feels slow. Consistency is the quiet force behind every great achievement, and when embraced, it changes the trajectory of your life. One of the most powerful forces driving personal growth and success is the compounding effect of habits. Just as a small seed grows into a mighty tree over many years, the habits you form today multiply their impact exponentially over time. This principle is not always obvious because the changes often start slowly and invisibly. Yet the compounding effect is what separates those who reach their highest potential from those who fall short. It shows that the true power of habits lies not in isolated actions, but in their cumulative influence, shaping your future in ways that far exceed the initial effort. To understand this, consider the concept of compound interest in finance. When you invest money, the interest you earn begins to generate its own interest, creating a snowball effect. Over time, the value of the investment grows at an accelerating rate. Habits work in a similar way. Each small positive habit you establish creates a foundation on which future habits and improvements can build. The first step might seem insignificant, but as it repeats day after day, the benefits multiply. This ongoing growth can lead to breakthroughs that were unimaginable at the start. One reason the compounding effect is so powerful is that it operates quietly in the background. It's easy to get discouraged when results don't appear immediately. Many people expect rapid progress and give up when they don't see quick returns. But habits don't work like flipping a switch. They grow gradually, and the changes often become noticeable only after consistent effort over months or years. This delayed gratification requires patience and trust in the process. Recognizing the compounding effect helps maintain motivation by shifting focus from immediate results to long-term impact. Moreover, the compounding effect of habits doesn't just influence one area of your life, it spreads across every dimension. A habit of reading daily, for example, expands your knowledge and sharpens your thinking. Over time, this can improve your decision-making, creativity, and communication skills, which positively affect your career, relationships, and personal growth. Similarly, habits of discipline, punctuality, and kindness create a ripple effect that enhances your reputation, trustworthiness, and connections with others. One small habit can ignite a chain reaction of benefits that transform your entire life. Another key aspect of this compounding power is how habits shape your identity. The repeated actions you take become part of who you are. When you consistently practice a habit, it no longer feels like a chore or an external obligation, but a natural expression of your character. This identity shift is critical because it aligns your self-image with your goals. Instead of forcing yourself to act against your nature, you begin to act from a place of genuine belief and motivation. This alignment makes habits easier to sustain and magnifies their compounding effects. The compounding effect also explains why negative habits can be so damaging. Just as positive habits multiply good outcomes, bad habits accumulate consequences that undermine your success and well-being. Small, seemingly harmless actions like procrastination, unhealthy eating, or negative self-talk can compound into significant obstacles over time. Awareness of this effect is crucial because it reminds us that every choice matters and small changes in direction can have profound long-term effects. Importantly, the compounding effect teaches a valuable lesson about the power of beginnings. Starting with small, manageable habits is essential because they set the trajectory for growth. Trying to overhaul your life overnight often leads to failure and frustration. Instead, by focusing on tiny improvements that can be maintained consistently, you harness the power of compounding. Each positive habit you add is like planting another seed, contributing to an abundant harvest in the future. Furthermore, the compounding effect creates a sense of momentum. As habits build upon each other, progress accelerates. What once required effort begins to feel effortless. The path to your goals becomes clearer and opportunities multiply as you grow. This momentum is the engine that carries you forward even when obstacles arise. It turns small, disciplined actions into unstoppable progress. In the end, understanding the compounding effect of habits changes how you view effort and time. It reveals that success is not the result of a single heroic moment, but the sum of many small, consistent actions stacked over time. This insight empowers you to take control of your daily habits, knowing that each one has the potential to shape your future far beyond the immediate moment. Our habits do far more than just influence what we do on a daily basis. They shape who we are at the deepest level. Every repeated action you perform becomes a thread woven into the fabric of your identity. When you engage in positive habits consistently, you are not just changing behaviors temporarily, you are transforming your sense of self. This connection between habits and identity is the hidden force behind lasting change. Understanding it helps explain why surface-level efforts often fail and why true transformation requires aligning your habits with the person you want to become. The process begins with the recognition that identity is not fixed or predetermined. Instead, it is a dynamic story that you tell yourself about who you are. This story is constructed through your thoughts, beliefs, and most importantly, your actions. When you repeatedly behave in a certain way, your mind interprets this as evidence of your character. For example, if you make a habit of exercising regularly, over time you start to see yourself as an active and disciplined person. The habit reinforces the identity, and the identity, in turn, supports the habit, creating a positive feedback loop. This relationship works both ways. When you try to adopt a new habit that doesn't align with your current self-image, it creates internal resistance. Your mind resists actions that contradict the identity you have built up. This resistance often causes people to quit new routines early or to slip back into old behaviors. That's why simply focusing on willpower or external goals is often insufficient. Sustainable change happens when the new habit feels like a natural expression of your identity rather than a forced chore. Building identity through habits means starting with small, consistent actions that reflect the person you want to become. Each time you act in accordance with that vision, you send a message to yourself that this is who I am. This repetition gradually rewires your self-concept. Instead of telling yourself, I want to be healthy, you begin to say, I am a healthy person. This shift from wanting to being transforms your motivation. You no longer rely solely on outcomes or external rewards, but rather on the internal satisfaction of living in alignment with your values. Another powerful aspect of identity-based habits is that they provide clarity and direction. When you see yourself as a certain kind of person, your choices become easier. You naturally gravitate toward behaviors that support your identity and avoid those that don't. This internal compass simplifies decision-making and reduces doubt. It creates a coherent sense of purpose that guides your actions effortlessly. Moreover, identity-driven habits are more resilient to setbacks. When challenges arise, people with a strong identity connection to their habits are more likely to persevere. Even if they miss a day or face difficulties, their sense of self remains intact, motivating them to get back on track. This contrasts with those who rely solely on external motivation or temporary goals, who are more prone to giving up when faced with obstacles. The connection between habits and identity also extends beyond personal growth. It influences how others perceive you and interact with you. When your habits reflect positive qualities such as reliability, kindness, or integrity, you naturally earn respect and trust. Your actions become a visible representation of your character, strengthening relationships and opening new opportunities. In this way, identity-based habits not only transform your internal world, but also shape your external reality. It is important to recognize that identity is not formed overnight. Like habits themselves, it develops gradually through continuous practice and reflection. Patience is required as you build new narratives about who you are. This process often involves challenging old beliefs and assumptions that no longer serve you. Embracing the idea that you are a work in progress frees you to experiment with new habits and identities without fear of failure. Ultimately, understanding the power of identity through habits reframes the way you approach change. Instead of focusing solely on what you want to achieve, you begin to focus on who you want to become. This subtle but profound shift changes your relationship with habits from a task to a form of self-expression. It unlocks the potential for deep, lasting transformation that flows naturally from the inside out. Every small habit you develop does not exist in isolation. It creates a ripple that extends far beyond your immediate life. Like a stone dropped into a calm pond, the impact of your daily action spreads outward, influencing people, environments, and opportunities in ways you may not immediately see. This ripple effect demonstrates how seemingly minor changes you make within yourself can lead to far-reaching consequences that affect your family, friends, colleagues, and even communities. Understanding this phenomenon highlights the true power and responsibility embedded in the habits you cultivate. When you commit to positive habits, you raise your own standards, and in doing so, you set an example for those around you. People are naturally influenced by what they observe. When you show up consistently with discipline, kindness, or integrity, others notice it, even if it's subtle. Your dedication to small improvements can inspire those close to you to adopt similar behaviors. This influence often happens quietly and without words. Just by living your values through your habits, you become a catalyst for change in others, encouraging a culture of growth and positivity in your environment. Consider how the ripple effect plays out in relationships. A habit as simple as expressing gratitude daily or offering a smile can shift the mood and tone of interactions with others. Over time, this small practice can strengthen bonds, build trust, and improve communication. The benefits spread as those you impact carry this positivity into their own relationships and communities. Your habits, therefore, become a source of connection and healing that transcends your personal experience. At work, the ripple effect is equally significant. When you consistently demonstrate reliability, punctuality, or a willingness to help, you influence the team culture and productivity. Your small actions can inspire coworkers to raise their own standards, creating an atmosphere of excellence. Even your attitude toward challenges and setbacks sends a message that shapes how others respond to adversity. The cumulative impact of these daily habits can transform an entire workplace, leading to better collaboration, innovation, and success. The ripple effect also extends to the larger community. When you adopt habits that promote sustainability, generosity, or volunteering, you contribute to social change. Small acts like recycling, conserving energy, or donating time and resources may seem insignificant on their own. Yet when multiplied by many individuals, these actions create powerful movements that improve society and the environment. Your habits become a thread in a larger fabric of collective impact, showing how personal responsibility translates into communal progress. Moreover, the ripple effect works through the stories you share and the influence you hold in social circles. When you live intentionally and share your journey, you motivate others to reflect on their own habits and choices. Your example can become a source of encouragement, especially for those who feel stuck or uncertain about change. The courage to start small and persist through challenges resonates with people, often inspiring them to begin their own journeys of growth. Importantly, the ripple effect reminds us that no effort is wasted. Even when the immediate results of your habits seem small or invisible, their influence spreads in ways you might never fully realize. The patience to keep making positive choices despite uncertainty about impact is itself a habit of resilience and hope. This understanding encourages you to keep planting seeds of good habits, trusting that the ripples will grow and touch lives beyond your own. The ripple effect also underscores the interconnectedness of human experience. Your habits, thoughts, and actions form part of a larger network of influence that binds us together. Positive changes in one person can spark transformations in others, creating a chain reaction of growth and improvement. Recognizing this interconnectedness shifts your perspective from individual success to shared responsibility and collective flourishing. This awareness can change how you approach your habits. Instead of viewing them as purely personal goals, you begin to see them as contributions to a larger purpose. Each habit becomes an opportunity to make a difference in the world around you. This mindset adds meaning to your daily routines and strengthens your commitment to continual improvement. Ultimately, the ripple effect teaches that your life is more powerful than you might imagine. The small choices you make each day send waves through the lives of others and the world at large. By embracing positive habits, you not only transform yourself, but also become an agent of change, expanding your impact far beyond what you can see or measure. One of the greatest misconceptions about achieving success and meaningful change is that it requires monumental efforts or sudden leaps. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity, or a massive burst of energy before they begin their journey. But the truth is that the most enduring transformations often begin with the smallest steps. Starting small while keeping a big vision in mind is the key to unlocking progress without overwhelm or discouragement. This approach combines practicality with ambition, allowing you to build steadily toward extraordinary outcomes. When you start small, you remove the barriers that often prevent action. Big goals can feel intimidating, so much so that people freeze or procrastinate indefinitely. The distance between where you are and where you want to be seems vast, and the required effort appears insurmountable. But by focusing on tiny, manageable habits, you lower the threshold for entry. These small beginnings make it easier to take the first step and build momentum. They invite you to engage with your goals in a way that feels doable and sustainable. At the same time, thinking big keeps you aligned with your true purpose and long-term aspirations. A grand vision acts like a compass, guiding your small daily choices and ensuring they add up to meaningful progress. Without a big picture, small actions risk feeling aimless or insignificant. Thinking big creates a sense of direction and motivation that fuels persistence. It reminds you that every tiny habit is a building block of something greater, a step on the path to your larger dreams. The relationship between starting small and thinking big is a powerful balance. It teaches patience because you learn that success is not instantaneous but a process. You begin to appreciate that meaningful change happens gradually through consistent effort. This understanding reduces frustration and encourages you to celebrate incremental wins rather than waiting for dramatic breakthroughs. Each small accomplishment is a signpost that you are moving in the right direction. Starting small also encourages experimentation and learning. When the first steps are modest, you have the freedom to adjust and refine your approach without significant risk. This flexibility allows you to discover what works best for you, to overcome obstacles, and to develop strategies that fit your unique circumstances. Thinking big provides the motivation to keep refining your process, while starting small offers a practical way to explore and improve. Another benefit of starting small is that it builds confidence. When you set achievable goals, you experience success early and often. These small victories reinforce your belief in your ability to change and grow. Over time, this confidence becomes a powerful force that propels you forward and makes bigger challenges seem less daunting. Thinking big keeps your ambitions alive, while starting small ensures you don't get overwhelmed or discouraged along the way. Moreover, starting small respects the natural rhythm of human behavior. Radical changes often demand willpower and sacrifice that are difficult to sustain. By contrast, small habits fit more easily into your daily life and require less energy to maintain. This approach increases the likelihood that your new routines will stick, turning temporary efforts into lifelong patterns. Thinking big ensures that these patterns are not aimless, but directed towards significant goals. The principle of starting small and thinking big also aligns with how great achievements are actually realized. Many of history's most successful people began with humble beginnings, focusing on incremental progress. They did not wait for perfect conditions or complete mastery before taking action. Instead, they embraced the power of small, Consistent steps guided by a compelling vision. Their stories remind us that greatness grows from simplicity and persistence. Furthermore, starting small while thinking big helps you manage the inevitable challenges and setbacks along the way. Big goals can feel discouraging when obstacles arise, but by breaking your vision into small, manageable pieces, you maintain a sense of control and direction. You learn to adapt and persevere without losing sight of the ultimate destination. This mindset strengthens resilience and fosters a growth-oriented attitude. In essence, the strategy of starting small and thinking big empowers you to take meaningful action immediately while maintaining focus on your highest aspirations. It removes the paralysis caused by overwhelming goals and channels your energy into consistent progress. This combination is a blueprint for sustainable success and profound personal transformation. When we step back and look at the journey of change, it becomes clear that lasting transformation is rarely the result of sudden leaps or dramatic shifts. Instead, it is the outcome of small habits carefully nurtured over time, consistent effort that builds momentum, and the powerful compounding effect that multiplies every positive choice. These habits shape our identity, influencing not just what we do, but who we become, while also sending ripples that touch the lives of others beyond ourselves. By starting small and thinking big, we create a sustainable path forward, one that invites patience, persistence, and purpose. Embracing the power of small habits reveals that every tiny action matters, and that profound change is possible when we commit to the steady process of growth, knowing that the greatest achievements are built one habit at a time.